2018, a groundbreaking discovery elevated a fascinating hypothesis when scientists found complex organic molecules in the water plumes bursting from Enceladus, one of Saturn's icy moons. These molecules, essential building blocks for life, suggest that life's ingredients are potentially more widespread than we had previously thought. Imagine tiny organisms, the ultimate hitchhikers, traversing the vastness of space, enduring the cold vacuum and the fiery entry through our atmosphere to kickstart biology on a blue speck in the universe. It's a theory that turns the origin of life into an intergalactic adventure, suggesting that we, and all life on Earth, might just be the aliens after all. This case file joined the theorists as they sling their primordial ooze and pump the galaxy full of potential life with the scientific idea of Panspermia.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 220, Panspermia. I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
Boys, just to let you know, because we're doing this on Tuesday, I start my mixed martial arts journey tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Rex Kwando?
Yeah, Rex Kwando.
Did your American flag pants? Or you have Canada pants? I'm sorry. You have Canada sweatpants?
Yeah, I've gone with Canada.
I need a
It's
full-
got like the whole Vindicator suit, actually.
Nobody wants a roundhouse kick to the face wearing these bad boys.
I need a full explanation of your journey here. What do you mean?
A friend, Jamie's friend, has a new boyfriend, and so we're friends now because the girls hang out, and he does BJJ.
One of those I don't have to like him situations, but
I do like him though. He's a nice guy.
It's always
Yeah.
you put up a fight at the beginning, you're like, oh,
Yeah, I'm like, don't tell me I like this guy.
Time with this guy.
And then, so we've been hanging. They come over, we hang out, we have drinks, whatever, have a fire. And he opened his own
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah, he opened. Well, he saw my championship belt and he said, "Who'd you pin for that?" And I said, "None of your fucking business who I pinned." And then he's like, he started his own dojo. I don't think that's what they're called, but I call it a dojo.
I like that better.
Definitely a dojo.
Sure.
Yeah,
Has to
and
be
so he started one a month ago, and I helped him do some trim work in the new dojo. And in return,
So he's
he
going to
said,
do a little trim work with you, is what you're saying.
"Yes, yeah."
All right.
So,
So this is
He
how
said
you
I
break
could-
your other knee.
yeah. So just so you know, if you thought for a second that I was already too deadly,
You're gonna be so hurt. You're gonna get so hurt.
he goes, "Oh, everyone's excited because I told them there's another big boy coming." I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "There's not a lot of big."
Flexible.
He goes, "There's not a lot of big boys," and I went, "What does that mean?" He's like,
You got to
"You're
register
like
your gut as a lethal weapon.
Yeah, he's like, "You're like 240, right?" I went, "No, not anymore." And he goes, "Oh."
235.
He goes, "Oh, I'm actually
You're like
228 right now."
I was like, well, if I switch up back my diet to my cream of mushroom ramen, I'll be up there real
I
quick.
can get back up there.
No
So
problem.
there's some like other. He's like, "Oh, good. I'll make sure the other big boys come, so you can roll with them." I'm like,
You sure this guy
"Lovely."
doesn't just have a big boy fucking fetish?
Sounds weird.
See guys rolling all sweaty.
Yeah. So I bought.
Are we sure this isn't a cult?
Yeah.
This is a no-gi, like naked one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Greco-Roman wrestling.
Classical
Wait.
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yes, it is no gi. Am I
gi.
supposed to go naked?
Pretty much, I think.
Some tells me there's going to be a lot of.
You might get hand wraps. I don't know. You might get hand wraps.
It's gonna be real gi.
Yeah. Hot gi. No, so it's I already have like natural. You know how like remember how like Michael Phelps. You know, he's like just a natural because he's got like birth defects, basically.
He's born with gills, yeah.
Like he's got like
Marfan syndrome or something.
Yeah, so it like helps him swimming. I feel like that's going to be me with mixed martial arts because I like
don't wanna
I
touch you.
Are you in
ooze
mixed
slime.
martial arts? Or are you in Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So
Okay,
I
a
ooze
little
slime instantly as soon as I get hot. There's no way anyone can get a grip on me.
It's true.
It's
No
like
one's
Crisco.
gonna be able to wrap
It's like
you up.
Crisco coming out of my
He
pores.
does.
Coating.
He leaves a fucking slug trail.
It's true.
Everywhere he goes.
Self-coating. It's
Yeah,
just like,
no one's gonna be
It's
able
like
to get a grip on me.
ectoplasm.
Yeah,
Brayden makes his own
fucking
gravy.
gross.
And
the
just
harder you try to squeeze a grip, it just slides out.
It's
Right?
like gelatinous.
Yeah. So
All you're missing now is on the podcast trifecta is you got the podcast, the BJJ,
yeah.
elk hunting with a bow. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
next.
Yeah.
And you got it. You're the clone.
Have you
I
cold
could-
plunged today?
Oh yeah, cold
I hot plunge.
yeah.
I reverse Rogan.
I prefer the hot plunge as well.
Yeah, I prefer the hot plunge. Nice 104.
Yep.
Oh yeah, little bubbles,
Little bubbly.
bit of bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's my thing. So I get in there for a half hour, maybe some wine.
Marinating. Holy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Anyways, we're talking. We got
Speaking of pools of bacteria,
Yeah, we're talking about space jizz, right?
yes, yeah, basically
Pretty much.
Space primordial ooze. And is there a chance that life can propagate itself just through the vastness vacuum of space?
Panspermia.
Yeah.
No one laughed. Ah.
Down in that.
no,
So I was making
Wasn't
fun
that
of
what
it.
it
laughs
means?
out before.
Kind of, I think.
Isn't that what it means? It's seeding. It's like,
Yeah, it's
It's like extraterrestrial seeding.
yeah, spooge.
Good. There it
space
is.
spooge.
Space spooge.
Yeah.
We're right on the money here.
That's how I interpreted it.
Right. Interstellar money shots, right?
Yeah. Just giving Earth a fucking
Interstellar
facial.
money shots.
Yeah, it's
You can tell
Panspermia
Dan's
is a-
about going back to one of his favorite places soon, I think.
Panspermia is an interesting idea. Is when I mean, probably like everybody remembers, or most people remember. It's like Prometheus, like Prometheus the film. Most people went to go. Some people went to go see it. Where you have the idea that intelligent life has either started somewhere already and then has somehow propagated itself throughout our galaxy somehow, and whether it's all connected or something like that. We're still searching for that proof. We've had plenty of close calls, I would say. And then we can probably talk about some of those things, but perhaps it's possible that the building blocks of life exist somewhere else and just got tossed here onto our planet, just at the right time. Or
Dude,
perhaps
it's one of those topics that I've thought about really stoned many times.
Oh yeah.
That you're just
Of
like,
course.
I think they call it what abiogenesis.
Biogenesis.
Meaning pretty much the primordial soup of this planet. It was just a big ball of molecules, water,
Right.
and through some type of energy like lightning or meteor strike, it set the motion of life upwards. Like all of a sudden there's just some weird molecules, they merge together, form some single cell organism, and then now we're here. Like that's pretty much what we think.
One
it was.
molecule made two molecules, and then they made more molecules.
Off it goes
and
in
they got
billions of
more,
years.
and then, whoop, yep.
But yeah, the theory that maybe life didn't evolve just like that, and it just floats around space through different, we're going to get to it, different avenues, either purposefully or accidentally. And then life just continues on and continues on and continues on.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be the first person to be thinking about that. I mean, apparently this idea has been around since like the 5th century. I don't know. That's the first thing that comes up when you look up this. It's like, this idea has been around for a long time. Like we have Greek historians mentioning, philosophosphers going over this idea.
The
Look at this.
Philosopher
Look at
Zealotes.
this. Hold on.
Huh?
Can you see
Oh.
that?
It's gonna,
yeah, a tiny
sit.
little spider that made you fucking make the most
On my
embarrassing
drink.
sound.
Is that
he's gonna sit.
I went to go drink it.
It's like a harmless spider.
Yeah, it's tiny.
that would have killed you, I think.
But I do a podcast in a garage. I am one with the spiders. They're my friends.
I do now too.
Yeah. It's
Can't tell it's a garage anymore, but
Andrew's actually just a bunch of spiders.
I'm just hoping to be bit by
grouped up
one.
into a person. Yeah.
It gets fucking powers, man. That's it.
Yeah,
the goal.
your power is gonna be fucking high grade fever.
Developing into like fuck.
Developing into
Climate
coma
shit.
and or death.
I mean,
Spider
as long
sense.
as I'm having a fever dream of
Yeah.
getting powers, it's a win. I don't know any different.
No, you've like the ideas for panspermia have always kind of been around since we've had the idea that other planets have existed, and you're kind of, us just being humans, you're just wondering if there's life here. Can there be life other places? I think one of the other Greek philosophers, his name was Anaxagoras, which is a pretty rad fucking name. And he had kind of thought about, he was one of he had a bunch of like ideas kind of early on about talking about how, though he was still one of the guys who was like, he had the great idea that panspermia is like, yeah, there's other planets out there. We've observed them, the other spheres that float around our sun. But he also believed that apparently the earth is flat and is supported on wind currents or air currents or something. So, I don't know.
Is it not? Haven't we
He would
talked
fit
about
in. He would fit in this time now.
Yeah.
He really,
He'd have a podcast
Anaxagoras
and
would
he'd
be-
probably be headlining some flat Earth Society
I feel like
Him
that's
and-
really
him and
fizzled.
David Weith,
We
convention?
don't see a lot of that anymore.
Flat
the
Earth?
flat Earth.
Greek philosophers?
Oh, dude,
yeah,
somehow
that
I've been
They're all
I
dead.
lingered too much on Flat Earth on Instagram, and I get a lot of Flat Earth.
Oh,
yeah.
do you?
A
Maybe
lot.
that's why. Maybe it's just not.
Yeah.
I just remember you had a few of those, like, call them what they are, Albertans that are on your Facebook timeline
Sure.
that dove a little too deep into the fucking flat earth thing. They've
Sure.
gone. It's gone now.
Are they still there? No,
Maybe it's
yeah,
because they
should
took
be
the
gone.
W on COVID,
Maybe.
right? So like, hey, 1 out of 2, 1 out of fucking 2.
I don't know.
They just
After
shifted.
right?
After they
'Cause
put out
they
that
were right.
fucking after they put out that documentary Behind the Curve, I think it kind of died off because people were like, yeah, this is dumb.
No, because you could also have like a family member that goes back to religion, and in that religion, the Earth is flat. So that's also
the Earth
that's
is
also
still
around.
flat.
So it still lingers. It's not as
fucking
mainstream
ancient
though.
Grecian? Like, what does she believe in?
Doesn't believe in physics.
Doesn't believe in
physics.
much.
Don't work.
Just pretty much that's the end of the world is now. Right now, Armageddon. You got to do everything
Hey,
you
I
can
can
to save
believe
yourself.
that.
I tried to tell this person that people have been saying it's Armageddon for 2,000 years. It's always Armageddon. This is a really long,
The Aztecs
slow
had 7 of them.
Armageddon.
Yeah, and honestly, we lived through the like.
We're like in the 12th.
I would like, just to be very like on the topic of Armageddons, like we lived through probably like the greatest Armageddon like call for Armageddon ever of 2012 with the end of the Mayan calendar, where they're like, for years everyone's like, well, that's that.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
We're
Y2K.
fucking dead.
Y2K was big.
Yeah, but that was, like, came
distinctly
up-
remember we've been through 3 or 4 raptures at this point.
Yeah.
Like I think we've like
But Y2K, like, I still didn't understand because it's like the calendars on Microsoft are gonna say 00, and it's gonna be 1900 again.
planes are gonna
like-
be falling out of
And
the
then you're
sky.
like, what does that do to me? Like, I know it's not 1900.
We're all gonna spontaneously combust.
All the banks are gonna fail. Yeah, it's real big. Nothing.
I was like, how? But I don't understand. It'll just say 1900. It's like big whoop. I'm sure there's a patch.
People, that would have been fun one to be like an adult for, because within like 15 minutes it'd be like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Come on. All those bottles of water in your basement. What are you gonna do with them now?
Your toilet paper, Steph. Those people are probably still wiping with fucking 99 toilet
oh,
paper.
yeah, so much.
They're folding it over. They got like 18 ply.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
pallets of hand sanitizer
Yeah,
that they're trying to move at fucking
It's
yard
convenient,
sales.
though.
Yeah, you know what? It was those people that probably were selling it, hawking it during the COVID.
probably made a fortune.
getting rid of their Y2K hand sanny.
TP empires.
Speaking of Armageddon and stuff falling out of the sky, that's actually what brought around the idea of panspermia again, like during like the 70s is when we actually discovered that there was Martian meteorites on Earth. Like there were meteorites that were like chunks of the red planet that had ended up on Earth somehow.
Hell yeah.
Kind of
Just before we go farther,
the idea.
because we're on panspermia, so I didn't really talk about. There's 3 types of panspermia. Three main types, right? So we have radio panspermia, which is pretty much microscopic nanoparticles being shot through the space by solar rays landing on our planet. Then we have lithopanspermia, which is pretty much like rocks. And this is what we'll talk about right now, like rocks from other planets or solar systems being launched through space by either meteorite impact, asteroid impact, exploding planets, blah, 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 landing on other planets, bringing life with them. Or the third and best one, which is probably, I'm going to say 99.9%, the real panspermia is directed panspermia. And that is covenant.
Like purposeful?
Like aliens bring life, seed
Intelligently
life,
guided.
intelligently guided either through a probe or actual like organic.
So litho is the rock, like
Rocks.
the meteors, rocks.
Yeah.
So that's
That's what I mean.
Sam Raimi's Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man 3.
Venom
Yeah.
symbiote.
Symbiote.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the last one we talked about is like the Kal-El situation. Superman put the baby on the fucking thing.
Yeah,
ship it there.
kryptonite.
He'll be a god.
kryptonite
He'll be a
coming,
god to them.
kind of-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except there
Ish.
was already life here. That's a little different. But
All right. The
Yeah.
radio one, we don't have a comic book comparison, so I can't I can't fathom it.
I don't
Doesn't
understand
make
that
sense
one.
to me.
microscopic superheroes.
If
that
I
we
thought
don't know
about it, I
of.
could probably figure it out. One second.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Think about it.
You give Dan
Marinate,
10
man.
minutes, he'll
I
figure
want
it
one
out.
by the end.
Maybe the power cosmic, like kind of Fantastic Four-ish.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Cosmic
Okay.
rays. Something
All
like
right. I get it now.
that. I get it now. I get it.
Pick it up.
Get
and
it, get
put
it, get it.
down.
How do I reach these keys? There's those three major ones, which are the ones, and then like Zell said, like litho one seems to be kind of the one that a lot of scientists are kind of like that's the one that they seem to concentrate a lot of these stuff, especially in a lot of studies that we've done, because it's just one of the things that we've actually seen kind of happen.
It has evidence. We have rocks that
Right.
are traced now back to Mars. Like,
Right.
Well, yeah, like I mean, if there was a fucking big enough like asteroid impact on say Mars that's like sent, ejected shit back into space, and then maybe we just come through it, right, pass through it on Earth, right, and there we go, back fucking space bacteria, right? We're getting crop dusted by Mars.
well, Mars has that giant crater, which they think an asteroid did just like carve out a huge canyon and just throw rocks. So was there life on Mars first? Gets hit, those microscopic particles fly through space, land on Earth, and seed life here.
And I think some scientists, there's been a couple studies that I read that they're like, it's actually not that difficult for a piece of rock, like if you're, from an impact to reach escape velocity and then also make it out into space. And so some of the challenges that they face that, that they said that, okay, a biological organism or, even like the organic compounds that you would need to even perhaps start life, would have a time, because you have to survive the vacuum of space. You have to survive radiation, traveling through unshielded through space.
Yeah, that's
but
impossible.
It's not impossible.
No, it's not.
But the studies have shown that they only need a minimal amount of shielding for some of our more hardy bacteria and stuff that we've seen here on Earth. Like they can survive for years on these, inside like a crevice of a rock or something like that. You could just be like, if it's packed down in there, like it can shoot off and they could probably make it through. I think they some of the materials that they tested, they used like centrifugal force. They tested it for that. They put them through vacuum, put them through exposure to radiation.
It's basically saw for bacteria.
Yeah.
We have a perfect example of this working because we have fucking octopuses.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're different species, man. Different DNA.
How else do they're not? Explain it.
They're not from here. They were
not from here.
on board a meteorite from Mars,
1,000%. It's the only explanation.
sailing through the solar system, landed on Earth.
Just frozen
Yeah.
little octopi eggs, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Sent here by octojesus.
Flash frozen in space,
Of course.
Yeah.
land on Earth, heat up. They're fine.
They're basically like this is like the sea monkey hypothesis that it's just like add water,
But with octopuses.
right? But with octopuses. And then they just land and then they propagate because they're fucking very unique creature on Earth.
one of the actual kind of closer examples to something actually surviving was there was an interesting project that they just recently finished called there was a mission on the ISS called the Tampopo mission, and Tampopo is Japanese for dandelion.
Octopus.
No.
Close.
And so it was an experiment to see if bacteria could actually survive in the extremes of outer space. So it's like they were going to prove that this could happen. So they placed these specially designed exposure panels on the outside of the International Space Station. And then they had these dried samples of varying thicknesses of this type of bacteria that they used. And then like they kind of just set them out there in that space environment for 1, 2, and 3 years, and then tested to see if any of them survived. And they actually saw that largely they were able to survive, that due to like a layer of dead bacteria on the top that was actually protected the colony beneath that layer. And that they were able to, like, they said like I think a colony of like a 1 millimeter in diameter could potentially survive up to 8 years in outer space conditions.
Not bad.
Not bad yet. You're not going far. You're not going far.
Now, the only problem with this experiment is, so ISS isn't technically in deep space. It's still, is it still partially shielded, or is it inside?
It'd still probably be within a little bit, but yeah, still wouldn't be deep space. So yeah,
it's still not habitable for any other life that we know of. So I mean, in this case, I mean, they call them like the most common one known, like what they call a water bear, a tardigrade.
Tardigrades. Yep, that's the one they usually talk about.
With tardigrades.
But they're called extremophiles. That's what they call these like little bacteria. And you could have, I saved it here somewhere, thermophiles. So they found bacteria that lives in like volcanic vents of 500 degrees, should melt anything else alive should be dead. But they found these there. They've had, what else do we have?
Something in phosphorus gas.
Cytrophiles, which are extremely low temperatures. So in this case, living in space, like, you know, minus space, depending if the sun's hitting you or not, minus 200 plus or whatever. And then the last one being barophiles, which like can
survive bears.
Just bears. They can just survive bears. But no, it's like it's an extremely
perfect killing machine.
Extremely salty conditions. And
what?
That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, I got that. Barophiles are like high altitude or like high atmospheric pressure, barometric pressure, and then halophiles are extremely salty. And then there's also acidophiles.
So they can put up with super salty environments, like very like resentful fucking
like really shitty people. They are fine. They can live there fine. They can marry any woman. They're fine.
Good for them.
They're good. Nothing gets
very rare.
Nothing gets to them.
Just totally happy being unhappy.
Exactly. I need a little bit of that in my life.
Right. And then there's also, I'm this one on the acidophile. Can just take high amounts of acid. No problem. Live in anything. No, they can live in extremely high pH. So pretty much they could live in like acids, like sulfuric acids and stuff that would pretty much melt any other organic material. There's bacteria that can live in there. So we know there's these bacteria that we probably 100 years ago would have thought are not there. And now they're all over the place. They've shot those tardigrades into space, and they actually go into like a state of like suspended animation where they use only like 0.01% of their metabolic state, and they just like live dead for a long time. So I mean, these
so much like us.
And then a lot of the scientists say that if some of these creatures got on, say we're on a meteorite, just slightly shielded, like maybe just inside, like a little crevice or something, kind of not in direct radiation, they could survive for maybe millions of years flying across space.
These are the ones you want to taste. These are the ones that can give you superpowers, for sure.
Yeah,
right?
100%,
like 1,000%.
Yeah,
you'd be like volcanic man.
Yeah,
eat that. Yeah, like come on.
Acid man.
Zell's power that he got from his is translucent skin. So
it helps. Keeps you extremely healthy. You can absorb all the sunlight. You can absorb it all.
Yeah. Motherfuckers got tanned organs from going out in the sun.
Yep. That's not
we
it's
do.
Not healthy.
And speaking of suspended animation, like we've seen like actual examples of that. I mean, that's the big thing we see right now, especially with certain areas of the Earth getting a little bit warmer than they should, and melting permafrost. You have scientists up there like pulling out organisms from the ground that have been in there for
bad idea.
Yeah,
bad idea.
Yeah.
Put those White Walkers.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows we got permafrost up there, which permafrost apparently, I learned that it covers a fifth of the northern hemisphere. And then underneath that, you've got all of these organisms that have been like sealed in the ground for thousands of years. But they're saying that like permafrost is actually a really good, if you didn't guess already, like it's a really good preservative. It's like a really good storage medium because it's not only that it's cold, but it's also oxygen free, like space.
All the shit trapped underneath. Yeah.
Right.
And then you put under there for a reason. It's trapped. That's jail. All right.
Nature jail.
To get at these fucking things.
Germ jail.
There was an ancient civilization pre Younger Dryas impact, and they did this on purpose. They hid these bacteria under there because they knew the Earth was going to end. They sacrificed themselves to save us. And now here we are digging it up.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple of interesting discoveries. Like they've managed to actually take samples from permafrost. Like they've taken pollen samples and they've been able to grow plants like that have been like dead for thousands of years, like tens of thousands of years. Also, some of these
plants produce pollen that is instantly kills humans.
It's gonna be Jurassic Park, but with fucking flowers.
I've seen that.
You get those big pollen clouds sometimes in the spring. Now we're gonna get some new ones that are just gonna wipe the whole town.
Bigger, like the woolly mammoth is bigger than an elephant.
My allergies have been a lot worse this year.
This is a start.
That's why. Like in 2014. They actually managed to revive like an actual virus, like a virus from that thing.
Great idea.
It's like
we did that too in 2019. Didn't go well.
Yeah,
ends bad.
This is like one of those like scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they never stopped to think if they should.
Well, it's like the thing is, it's like those things are going to get out anyways. Like the stuff keeps melting. Like you better be ready for it this time.
I guess you're a little preventative, right?
They chose they are taking precautions.
I'll tell you what,
it's not like we're just like anything.
There's never been a worse time to try to introduce a new booster for the permafrost virus coming out.
No shit.
I'm telling you, that thing can wipe out the globe because not a lot of people
are going to make you sterile.
Yeah.
Luckily, the ones they were experimenting with only target like single cell amoebas, so it's not like we're good for a while.
It actually only targets Democrats.
I know a couple. I know a couple people who might be hurt.
But it's like, I don't know. The oldest ones that they said that they pulled out and they managed to actually revive, like some of these, like they call them like what do they call them? They call them like giant viruses. Like they're really big for some reason, but they're very large. They said the oldest was about 48,000 years old, based on the radiocarbon dating of the soil that it was trapped in, and it actually came from like an underground lake that was like 16 meters below the surface, like. It's just like, it's like if something can survive down there, all of this kind of lends evidence to the idea that's like, maybe it's like, it's kind of possible. Like we don't see direct evidence. We don't have like a smoking gun yet, but there's a lot of this is like supporting the idea that, maybe, if not an entire organism, the biological starting, pieces could actually survive in space or in an environment very similar to space and make it here. That maybe that's because that's one of the great mysteries of science is that we don't exactly know how life started. We kind of have an idea, maybe a little bit, but nobody knows exactly how we got kicked off. Well,
the problem with this theory is, okay, that's life getting to this planet and start. It still doesn't solve the mystery of starting the origin of life itself.
Well, because it had to start.
It had to start somewhere, or it starts everywhere. It started everywhere at the same time,
all at once.
Yeah,
well, see, one of the so now that I have a garage, I haven't had a garage in a long time. One of the best things about having a garage is put a little chair in a garage, and you have a beer and a little smoke.
Right.
And I was listening to music, and I was thinking about this, and I was thinking back to when we talked about like the fractal universe, where it's like basically it's like all these small things you can find in the bigger picture. And so then I was kind of thinking about like, Dan kind of mentioned dandelions, about like how they spread the seed. It's like they fly away, get blown apart by the breeze, they land, make more dandelions. And I was like, maybe that's what's going on in the universe, is that all this stuff is out there, it was always in existence. And just when it all kind of swirls around or collides and you get these certain, areas that put together, it propagates these kind of bacteria, and it just starts.
That's why they named it the Tampa Project. That's exactly why they called it that.
But that was the high thought I had yesterday before you even brought that up, and I was like,
you had that idea before you read that it was called.
Before I read that,
yeah,
yes.
that's right. It's just like laser bullets.
Yeah, just like laser bullets.
I had the idea first, but it was already out there, but you didn't know that.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like maybe this stuff is already out there living. Like there's frozen bacteria that just needs a habitat, a little heat and a little water. You need to add the right ingredients, and all the building blocks have always existed.
That makes more sense to me in a way that, okay, say it's a Big Bang. Either that's the start of the universe or two universes colliding or whatever it is. That created life also. And that life was just spread with all the elements.
Yeah, like all the ingredients for life are there. They're there at the
boom,
Big Bang.
Right at the Big Bang, boom, they all flew out. They're living in space, microscopic. They join with molecules. They form into planets. And it was already there. It started that way. I mean, that makes more sense. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, and that's probably impossible from what we know. But it makes more sense because we say, like, okay, it exploded from a singular point of energy. Everything to ever exist popped out of the size of a fucking orange or something, just like an infinitely dense, tiny ball exploded, sent matter everywhere over billions of years. It coagulated and gravity formed it into planets. And then on those planets, life started. Maybe it's just part of the whole process right from the start.
What? Yeah. Your explanation of that, I mean, isn't like when you start to say like all these other things were formed from that. It's like, like gravity and everything from this Big Bang. Like why not life as well? Like why not at that point? There's just all.
Well, you go farther.
Everything was seeded
because a lot of people say Big Bang, but then a lot of people say the Big Bang wasn't necessarily just a singular point. It might have been a collision of matter, and that's what started it. And then that collision of matter, and then the fractal nature goes on, and then just repeats forever. And we never get to the we never get to the start of it ever.
What kind of matter? Like, what do you mean matter? Like planets? Like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
All matter, just everything to ever exist came from one point. That's what.
And then it's smashed together.
No, it was already together, and then eventually the bounds of gravity holding it together gave way, and it exploded and instantaneously created thousands of light years of space and universe in an instant.
I can see like at one point in time, somebody's like, "Listen, man, we're going to explain to you how this came about." And they got into that, and they're like, we got matter, and it smashes around, and shit's fucking cracking, and it's crazy, and all this stuff. And then the guy like learned everything, and he's like, I'm going to go share this to everyone. And he gets back to his little fucking tribe, and he's like, guess what, guys? I know the secret to the world. And they're like, what is it? And he's going to sit there, and he's like, there's some guy up there with a big white beard, and he just made us.
It's easier to explain.
That shit seems way too hard and complicated to fucking be able to share or fathom or anything. Like
yeah, guys, get this. There's nothing except for one tiny point of light.
Except one little point of everything.
Infinitely dense. Everything to ever exist in this tiny little ball. And then it popped. And then here we are.
Yeah, what?
Okay, Carl. You know what I mean? Like,
that can't be the case because I'm special. And I'm going to go to somewhere sweet.
I think
all
one of the
my family members.
I think one of the problems or one of the challenges that we have in kind of fathoming something like this is it's always going to be like the time scale. Like the time scale is always going to be something that it's like the universe is on a completely different time scale from us, billions of years, or like a blink of the eye. Oh, another spider.
Oh Jesus!
He's a really fast motherfucker. He climbs
so tiny. Just
you got a nest. You got a nest in your computer, probably.
He's gone now.
Fucking spider nest.
You kill him?
Yeah, I killed him.
Why?
That's rude.
Could have been your buddy.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking of
the spiders tell legends of me.
Well, speaking of
they
that,
can't when they're dead. When you kill them,
There's actually like a science fiction novel that
Dead
was like
spiders
one
tell no tales.
where it was like these humans were creating they were creating an experiment where they were essentially like going to be able to like release this kind of I can't remember if it was like a virus or something that was like, it was like artificial intelligence. So something that would be essentially elevate an organism, and they were going to release like these monkeys, like primates, these type of primates they had engineered to be like, okay, see if they actually evolved into people or if they evolved some sort of intelligence. Except shit gets fucked up, and then they end up like making smart spiders, essentially.
Ice spiders.
And then you watching these spiders, and then it's like the whole book is like describing like the interactions of these people and like these spiders, and like watching the spiders kind of grow and like go through the same kind of stuff that we do, considering, you know, astronomy, their civilization like evolves. It's
become
kind of like the Twilight Zone episode. No, but it's just a different way of spiders like seeing the world. You can imagine how like another organism would be like that. But the idea of like intelligent panspermia is like, you kind of, when you toy with that idea, it comes like with questions of being like, okay, why would they do it? Like, why would a civilization
I don't
be
even
like,
think,
okay.
I don't even think you need a why though, Dan, because there's a chance that we've done it accidentally, right? Like just shooting stuff onto other planets. We might have
shooting our loads on other planets,
shooting our payloads onto other planets. They might be like essentially like covered in bacteria that has survived that we don't know about, and they're now just like dirty bombs basically on these foreign planets and they're just teeming with bacteria. Now you mix some of the right ingredients there, and it's like you were, you know, maybe expanding life on Mars or anywhere else we've dropped stuff.
That's the also question. So it's like, why are they exploring these planets? Now we're exploring Mars. I mean, we can only kind of consider it from a human point of view, where it's being like, you know, anthropocentric, where you're being like, okay, we're exploring Mars because it's our closest neighbor. Yes. But it's also like the kind of the closest inhabitability wise, like kind of has an atmosphere. We might be able to live there. It would probably be actually probably less of a chance to live on Venus, but you know, it's like, why
in the Cloud
would they
City,
be there?
we talked about it.
So
city.
Is it
like the Jetsons?
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the ideas that I came across when I was researching for this. It was a pretty interesting idea that I think they're kind of throwing around now with the James Webb Telescope, you know, coming fully online. They're being like, now what they're actually doing is they're looking for groups of planets that have similar traits, because they're saying that perhaps if you find a group of planets that have similar traits all together, that would mean perhaps there had been some type of artificial intervention where, you know, terraforming or something like that. There'd be more chance of there being life on these planets because they all are the same. Like it's to be like, like, you know, there would be more of a chance to be like organisms that like were there because they all share the same traits and all of the same proximity. They're saying that perhaps like you'd have a better chance for finding life there. I mean, we only have our planet to go off of life, and you know, it could be the only one. Like we could be the only ones like out there.
We could be the only ones, or life could be everywhere.
We could be the progenitors. Like we go out there,
so
we
weird,
figure out that that space is empty. We're the first, and then we start seeding the universe.
I hate that there's always a chance that that's the case. Like there's a chance that is in fact the case. What for Fermi paradox, whatever. We're the only life to make it past all these barriers. That's such a weird thought, but I just like, of all the time that's existed, it just seems so weird that we would be living in this vastness, emptiness.
Maybe that
just
whatever
doesn't make sense.
What billion years are we on in the universe? 10 billion years, 14 billion years, something like that. That's just how long it takes. We're the first.
Yeah, can be.
It could be.
For what, like for everything, just for all the blocks that can produce life, just a random, like it's just a random chance. If things have to collide, the right things have to get in the right time at the right position away from a star. Like it just has to be perfect, and it's taken that long just to have Earth.
It just takes that long to create intelligent life, perhaps.
I don't know, man. It just,
or you know, planets like ours are the only ones that can support intelligent life. So now it's like it's. I mean, it's kind of interesting to think that be like, yeah, we kind of have a template for. I mean, it would be nice if that would fundamentally change our exploration of space. If we found like evidence of bacteria on Mars would change everything. But like for right now, it's like we're looking for planets that look like ours because we know intelligent life grew up here. Like we know there's intelligent life here. So if we can find another planet that's similar to ours, maybe there would be intelligent life there.
We're looking for
somewhere else.
thermophiles.
It's funny
Right.
when you think about it, like in my head, the best way to like keep, our civilization or potentially the chance for intelligent life to survive impending some type of cataclysm, whatever, coming to Earth would be to create our own little DNA germ bomb and send it out in hopes that, a similar thing would happen, right? Whether you fill it with human DNA or even like AI, whatever, just fuck it off, send it out. And that's the hope that we can keep it alive. And it makes you wonder if that's like, you look at Mars and maybe that's kind of what happened with Mars.
Yeah, I like that theory.
Right? Like, and that's where Earth comes from, right? Like that's because you think about it, like how else could we keep, other than obviously actually sending people and inhabiting another planet, which, I'm not sure we'll ever be able to do.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, that would really clinch it if we did find, since, scientists, a lot of, the majority of them probably, like now we're kind of like, okay, Mars at some point was very similar. Its environment was similar to Earth. There might have been green there. There might have been, there was water.
There's definitely more of an atmosphere at one time.
Right. And it's like, if Mars at some point had, supported life and it was very similar to ours, and that would kind of clinch it to be like, okay, intelligent life can thing. But there's also, going back to the extremophiles, every time we find these new organisms that live in these areas that it's like we don't think life could be there, it's like, oh man, like you find these places like in free underneath these glaciers in these underground lakes.
Buddy, just go to any of the street corners now. There's extremophiles all over the place. You're like, how is this guy still alive?
But it gives us hope for being like when we, we're sending out that mission to like Europa, where you're like, there is a good chance that there are these, frozen underground oceans down there, and it'd be like there could be a real good chance that there is life there as well.
Dude, the search for bacterial life and stuff, that's all cool, but I hope deep down that just the fucking rover on Mars or something just gets to a new point of Mars that hasn't been, and then just something that's kind of like pokes its head up, kind of looks around, and you're like, oh shit, some type of like rodent looking thing, little monkey or something. That'd just be more
monkey for sure.
That's way more
There's
fun.
Monkeys on Mars.
That's some radioactive fucking Mars monkey. That would be more fun to find life rather than like, oh, we have to take samples and like, oh, there's some little tiny bacteria in there. No, I want like something living.
I just want to see bacteria. Like right now, I'm baby stepping. I'm like, give me bacteria.
Oh, that's
first.
all well and good, but I want to see the monkey on the fucking rover taking the antenna off, ripping it off, smashing it.
Because like once, like if we find bacteria on Mars, which I have no doubt we're going to. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to find bacteria somewhere on Mars. Then life's everywhere. It's the next planet over. You can be like, it's everywhere. Now it's the search for complex life, right? And we can put all kind of our chips in that basket, because then you can start going like Dan said, you're targeting planets like ours or that are like ours in clusters, right? Because then we can start sending signals, because like, can they pick up signals? If we got James up, what's the zoom on that thing? Can't we just zoom in and see? Like Google Maps that shit.
Well, the problem with James Webb is you're seeing stuff that's thousands or tens of thousands or millions of years
in the past, I guess. Yeah.
Anyways, more theorizing coming up, but we got to take a short beer break.
Yeah, I need a
refill.
Beer.
And we're going to be
a quick puff.
Right back.
Let's get into if we were seeded by extraterrestrials.
You guys already see stuff. You saw it.
Right, because like part of this is like when you're looking at these kind of theories, you have to take into account that like, various people's experiences with that. Like think about all the cases we've talked about where people see extraterrestrials and stuff, right? And the experiments and stuff they've done on them. So is Earth kind of like a petri dish where they're just like, shooting their shot and seeing what grows, right? See what kind of life pops up.
I wonder if they're wishing they would have pulled out.
Yeah. Are they just like deadbeat dads? They're just like,
fucked up.
Yeah. Whoops. Or they came back. It's like, it's one of those things. I don't know. It's like, I was mentioned Prometheus earlier, and it's just like, yeah, they showed up here, then they came back, and they're like, oh fuck, like this was a good idea. We thought this was going to be a good idea, but this turned out real bad.
This was dumb.
This is maybe a bad idea.
Or maybe there's a civilization out there, 100,000 light years away, and they just target planets in a Goldilocks zone, and they shoot like a dirty bomb, like Andrew was saying, like a dirty bomb onto the planet. They're just like, yeah, shoot it. And, we're not going to get there anytime soon. But when we can, we have it marked that these are planets. We've done this. And so all we're seeing now is when we're seeing these visitors is we're seeing like them coming and checking on this science experiment that they did tens, if not hundreds of thousands of years ago, firing something into the planet, whether it be like the building blocks to have life, like similar to theirs. And they're just like, ooh, these are some interesting mixes we've got now with what bacteria was already there and what we kind of blew up on the planet. And interesting mix. We got monkey men, right? Hairless monkey men.
Always trying to either fuck each other or kill each other.
Yep,
right?
That's it. I mean, for that theory, it has to be like this ET race would have to be pretty much as old as the universe itself. Because if they're seeding planets, and if we do go with our timeline of life evolving over billion or billions of years, they just have extreme patience. They have no problem waiting for a billion years to come back and check.
But maybe it's not even
is different to them,
like
right?
they don't experience time.
They don't age like we do.
But maybe it's not even just the building blocks of life. It's maybe they're adding some stuff for complex life that they know, like if we put this and this, and there's this bacteria will feed off this and grow and multiply, and this stuff has better chance to evolve into complex life. Like maybe that's what they're doing. So maybe there was bacteria and there was some sort of life here, and they seed it with some octopuses, right? Some weird creature to grow.
That's the ancient aliens kind of hypothesis. Is the aliens come, they find a species that they're intelligent, they're advanced, but they're nowhere close to where the potential of that species could be. They do a little brain surgery, little DNA splicing, little CRISPR, and then if you were to edit genes of a pre-existing species, the adaptation or like the evolution would be like rapid, almost instant in like a geological timeline. It'd be like, all right, we came, and just a few generations later, we have a brand new species of
highly evolved apes,
super predators that seem, they transferred now they're all over the world. Now they're wearing animal skins. We fucked up. Oh no.
So what if it's, and here's one. So maybe it's like you said, like if these organisms or these entities are like beyond, they're so old, they're old as time itself, or the concept of time or whatever, and they've evolved beyond their earthly bodies or material bodies. They just exist as just energy beings. And for some, we think of that as kind of like the highest plane or whatever, the energy, right? They become these translucent energy beings, luminous entities, right?
Close.
Like so.
Cell's on the way.
Yep, I'm on the way.
So what they don't necessarily need is biological intelligent life. They just need intelligent life. They don't need necessarily whatever. They just need intelligence. And it's like you get to a certain, like they just throw the stuff out there. They like you said, like the cosmic ray idea, that they just radiate out this life force that it intelligently impacts a planet that seems to be, they propagate these waves that go through space, and then they touch these planets that are, they're like, they're in there, luckily, whatever. They can't, maybe they suss them out, I don't know, but they touch these planets, and these planets just evolve. Since they're on a different time scale, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It just happens.
I don't like this, Dan. I don't like where you're going with this, because to me, this is making me think that all we are for fucking these energy beings is Roy, a life well lived. Right?
But
Roy,
it's like
the video game.
Yeah, Roy.
we're all just variations of Roy for these.
But the thing is like once the entities all evolve in this thing, they just become a gestalt. It's like a gestalt intelligence. It's just like a combination is what they do. And so that every intelligence,
back up.
Yeah.
Just gestalt.
A gestalt, like gestalt, like it's like a combination, like a mix of things,
like a rat king, like a
kinda
rat
like
king
the Borg.
kind of
It's
thing.
kind of like the Borg, but it doesn't have to be bad like the Borg. It's like we are
everything.
something. we are, it's like, whatever. We are all one.
Like
whatever.
a hive mind?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Hive species.
Yeah, but without kind of like, it would just be kind of exist. It wouldn't be like one driving force, but perhaps it is something like that. It just needs to propagate. So it's like it needs to propagate intelligence is what it does. And so, it sends out these waves. And then once we get to a certain point, maybe we'll reach that thing. And it's being like, okay, you're ready to join with that. Like we've reached the point of intelligence.
All morph together. Join us.
Well, not biological. We'd leave our bodies and become luminous bodies of light.
It's rapture style.
Well, it's childhood's end. I don't know. People have either seen the TV show or read the book. It's pretty much the similar thought. It's a pretty good one, actually.
I mean, that's like kind of like on the topic of like ancient aliens. Like as all religious beings being an extraterrestrial. I've always thought like that because there's so many religions and a lot of religions, they overlap in their sense of being from a different, not from this world, came down, bestowed knowledge upon the people, like all of this stuff. Like if you just take that out as God and that's an alien, a more advanced ET life form from a different solar system, galaxy or universe dimension, whatever. I mean, like where does the sense of religion come from then for people? Like why did we need, what was this like the start of like, why do we need to believe that there was something else that came from above? Why couldn't we just evolve to believe that it's just us? Like I always thought that, like growing up religion, like in a religious school, cult-ish school, they would say like, oh, there's always the higher being coming down, helping, and he's going to take us away one day. I was like, what? Why? Like, why did there have to be one above us?
Yeah, why do you leave us here in the first place?
Why couldn't we be the only one? So, and then my whole life I always thought like, maybe that being was not God, not some omnipotent, powerful being. It was just a different species. I was like, all right, it took us this many billions of years. We see if we don't do something, it's going to be another 10 billion years before you get there. But we're just going to do a little. And then as we evolve, they come check on us. They stop down, they touch down, whatever it is. There's a God to this new people, and that new people is humans. And I'm like, all right. And then they kind of, what do you call it when you attach stories to anthropomorphize or something? Like you give meaning, like you tell a story through.
I know what you're trying to say, but I'm not smart enough to decipher it into the same.
That's when you give something like human-like qualities. I don't know that.
Yeah, so like an alien coming down is God. He looks like us. We're in his image, but not really.
So maybe the aliens are the middlemen. They're the ones that are preparing us to join with the Gestalt consciousness. They're just like they're sent here. They're like this is from the book too, but it's also like these aliens are just like they're kind of like stunted. They're limited by their biology or whatever, that they are just like a placeholder species, a guardianship species or whatever, where it's like they can't evolve past a certain point. They're kind of stuck there, and then they go, but the large intelligence, the Gestalt, whatever, reaches out to them and uses them as kind of like a go-between to interact
Dan, is
with
the
the
term
physical
Gestalt
beings.
from Warhammer 40K?
No, it's from other places too.
Okay,
it's from Deathstalker too.
That too.
They use it in a lot of stuff.
Is it in Warhammer?
Probably because it's a term.
Gestalt, yeah, it's an organized whole that is perceived as more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah,
there you go. I like that.
Like on that topic, Zell, it does kind of remind me of that quote where that guy, he says a quote there where it's like any sufficiently advanced technology would be indecipherable
from magic.
Yes, exactly. Indistinguishable from magic. And it's like, and then you think about like, a lot of these religions and the God figure, the Jesus or whoever has these magical abilities, right? That I can turn water to wine.
They're called miracles.
Miracles, yeah, right.
Right.
I don't know. I've seen David Copperfield do some stuff, and it's just like
pretty good.
Smoke and mirrors.
What if? That's a good one. What if David Copperfield? He's in close contact with aliens.
Was he part of the Gestalt? Yeah.
He started the Gestalt. He's tapping into the Gestalt.
Right. All magicians are part of the Gestalt.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have to
And they came
They get
here
cards. They get
and jizzed
membership
from
cards.
space.
Yeah.
It's all coming together, man.
Fuck, I want to go see a magic show now.
Dude, I saw Penn and Teller. It was great.
Yeah. Magic shows are awesome.
Penn looked into the audience and he goes, "This is one of your passwords." And it was my password on a fucking whiteboard. And I was like, fuck, how do you
God damn.
erase that?
Did you quickly change it before he stole your banking information?
No, I left it the same because
Of course, yeah. It's probably I probably know it. I could probably get in your bank account right now.
Oh, yeah.
How many people are in there?
In the auditorium?
Yeah.
Hundreds?
So it's probably the chance of him being able to guess at least one person's password.
Yeah, but it made me, I was just like,
Did he like say that? Like one person in this room's password, did he like kind of like looked at you?
No. He just said,
That'd be so
he spun the
awesome.
board and he's like, "This is someone's password." And he turned it. And then like everyone kind of laughed. And I was like,
Do you know how he got that?
Which?
Penn and Teller probably have the information to all like the credit cards who pay for their tickets and can go in there. See, it's fucking great.
yeah. But that, I mean,
This
maybe
is the street someone grew up on. This is their mother's maiden name.
Somebody in this theater has Smith.
but you know, it does make me think that, you know, if an advanced civilization or an ET race came and visited and like just showed them any kind of advanced technology, it would change the course of human history, because those people would be like, we met someone from the sky who came and he had gifts, and you wouldn't be able to explain anything he did. You know what I mean? Like, you just be like, hey, boom, I was healed. I don't know what it was. I had a headache. He gave me 2 pills, told me to drink water. I was totally fine after. It's crazy.
That's pretty funny, actually.
You're like, I don't know.
He
What.
just throws you a bottle of Tylenol. Let's take 2.
Yeah, he said, take 2 of these magic pills with water, and my headache went away instantly.
You've been blessed with acetaminophen.
A lot of it's like, explaining any scientific concept is kind of difficult. You're like, try to explain magnets to somebody, and you're like,
No,
I
can't.
take one. I have this one piece of metal and another
like
piece of
try to
metal,
explain it to your kids, you know, like
and I push them together, and
camera.
I can't. But I turn it around the other way, and they stick together.
whoa, magnets, how do they work?
Buddy, the first person to fuck, I would have probably stabbed the first person to take a picture. I didn't understand. I would be so fucking.
You stole
sure
their
that-
soul.
yeah.
Is what
You
happened.
stole my soul.
I'm pretty sure that's happened. In this
I
And then a
think-
tiny little woodpecker fucking etched it out that you
Yeah.
had hidden inside the stone
It's a
camera.
living.
Yeah.
I would have killed that person. I would have grabbed the camera, smashed into a million pieces, try and get whatever was in there out of it.
Jump.
Yeah.
To,
100%.
to free the little man who's drawing the picture inside, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say right now, of the 4 of us, we could probably send Andrew back in time, as far back as possible, and he would make no difference.
Zero.
I would just climatize.
There would be
I'd probably actually
there'd be
enjoy it.
no stories
You probably
of
would
this
enjoy it.
time traveler who knew
I think it would be
things.
good.
He would go
Totally-
back
Totally normal.
and he would not impact a single
No,
thing.
depending how far you sent Andrew back, he could probably convince people he was a type of god because he would know how to heal people in a way that they probably didn't know.
Oh,
Wash
yeah,
your
maybe.
hands.
Everyone's getting sick. Stop sucking on
He
your
has
fingers.
healing powers. Nobody gets sick. What do you? I wash my hands. I wash my hands.
He'd be
Send
killed.
me
Wash
back
your
to the
hands.
beginning of the 80s.
Beginning of the 80s.
Yeah. Late 70s, early 80s.
No, that's too close. Because you could do some
No,
damage
that's when I was
then.
supposed to be alive.
You
That's
could
when I
do
was
some
supposed to be
damage
alive.
then, because you would be like,
Sports Almanac, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
but like we send you back to the 1600s, 0 impact.
Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, you're dead. In a
Zero
second.
impact.
Dead.
Weak.
I'm dead. Why would
Like
you do
Zell
that?
might be able to help with some building, like maybe building.
Oh,
Oh, what are you
know
talking?
Hey,
Fuck you. I could
carpentry-
I could heal
Carpentry
people.
is the oldest trade. Building a house hasn't really changed in most of
Yeah.
human history.
So you would
Buddy,
just blend
listen.
in. You're not doing anything.
You'd be a court jester in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
You'd
buddy.
be presenting ass.
Buddy, I'd be up there doing Kevin Hart's whole set, crushing it in the 1800s.
You'd be killed. You can't tell jokes.
They're
back then.
murdered.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
Comedy is like the
Harsh.
newest form of entertainment.
I just picked a comedian that I came off the top of my head.
I don't know. I feel like you would be a hard sell for a good Kevin Hart.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
Well, I'm not going to do my
I
I feel like
impersonation of it
we'd
now.
just be really good at like committing crimes because you'd already be like, well, there's no fingerprints. And
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
just be like, hey, that guy's a witch.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that guy.
Oh my God. I'd be going straight to the church.
Oh yeah,
I'd
dude.
be going
Oh
straight
yes.
to the church.
Yeah, that'd probably be the
Oh,
place
my
to
God.
excel.
Buddy, we'd be worshiping Octo-Jesus.
Yeah. The church and then crimes. A life of crime for
All
sure.
crimes. I mean,
Same thing.
those, yeah,
Exact
those
same thing.
intersect
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
They go hand in
Those
hand.
have been together for a long time.
Like
Never get
fraud,
caught.
dude. The level of fraud I would be committing
Again,
back in time,
just intersect
right?
Yeah.
aggressively.
Just it would be, you would have no idea, and I'd be like, you guys don't.
They
do,
did back then.
You don't
Though.
do
You could buy your
checkbooks.
way into heaven.
There'd be
don't
so
check
much murder.
books.
We'd be doing so many murders. Like, it'd be like, I feel like we'd be killing so many people and just be like,
So many
Witchcraft.
murders happened
witchcraft.
all the time. Then you could murder people.
Hey, wait, is no one concerned that we're all talking about what we do? And Dan's like, I will murder everyone. I'm going to become a serial killer. That's my go-to.
He's got some
I'm
pent
like,
up
he
rage in
signed this
there.
paper. This is his signature right here, leaving all his stuff to me. Like, he also died of witchcraft. I don't know. Like,
He was a witch. No, you could
He's
probably
a
say he was a
witch.
witch and say you killed him and get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have to even hide the crime.
Yeah, there's no IDs. There's no IDs back then. You just show up in a town and you've got like,
You're whoever you say you are.
I'm a witch hunter.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor.
Sent by God.
I'm a
or
surgeon.
aliens, whatever.
And I also own
Yeah.
a crematorium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then I don't know. You'd get murdered pretty quick.
Yeah, it's true. Like you think
It's very high
if you
likelihood of
think you're
getting
going to do the
murdered
murdering,
first.
you might get a few, and someone's going to murder you.
Murder first.
Someone has the same idea as you. You're getting murdered.
How did anyone survive
We're from the
back
future,
then?
so we're slightly faster.
I don't
No
know.
one did survive back then. Look at the Earth's population until like
Like a super
200
dead.
years ago. It was flat. Everyone was just murdering everybody,
Yeah, it's crazy.
mostly through war, but still, just people getting murdered all the time. Earth's population barely grew.
And you'd think we'd
See,
be
this
so
is
much
the-
more
this is-
resilient.
this is
where
what
you
makes
see
me
where our
think
genes
that-
came from.
This is what makes me think that like aliens come back like after seeding our planet and they come back and they see this shit and they're like, what the
Nope.
What?
We
Turn
fucked
around, roll up the windows, get the fuck out of here. Mark it off the list.
It's either that, or,
Erase it from the maps.
it's either that, or they seeded us. We are their offspring in a way, but then they come back and we developed like the atomic bomb, and they're like, "Oh, that is rare. That is no good. This
they're like,
planet
"That's
fucking sucks."
Like, holy.
We're outta
Could you
here.
imagine if like extraterrestrials have been watching us and they're just like, oh, look at these guys together on the stone tools. Look at this. And then all of a sudden they're like, how the fuck did they look at that explosion? How'd they do that?
We're learning that right now with monkeys, man. We're watching them fucking hunt with
Yeah.
tools. One of them just used a fucking medicinal
that
plant to
orangutan.
heal their wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That orangutan, like that's crazy.
Yeah, but so see about the thing about the orangutans. There's one that spearfishes. There's the one who uses like the ointment from the plant.
yeah.
They have deduced that they actually watched a human do it. So they were seeded that technology by watching us hunt with a spear
Okay.
and probably watching us put stuff on their face, even if it wasn't the same stuff and the monkey or the orangutan just by accident started using the right stuff. Either way.
Yeah, the orangutan before him covered in stinging nettle.
Yeah, I mean, they had to go through it. That we talked about when we're the we're fucking Neanderthals back
Yeah,
then.
we did it. We went through the same
ate-
process.
We ate and died a million times before we figured out like
How
we
were we not
can't
killed off?
eat this stuff at all ever. Not even a little bit. You're dead.
Except
I
there's
can't
some
even
plants
eat
that you find that it's
lactose.
like some plants you're like,
Right.
hey, I don't know, what is it?
Like-
Like potatoes or whatever are toxic unless
have
you
ice
cook them.
cream
Like
and
you
I
have to
die.
cook
Yeah,
them
you gotta
first
cook 'em,
or
yeah.
whatever. And it's like there's some plants that like if you don't cook them the right way or if you cook them too much, they become toxic. Then you got to cook them
Hey,
just
you know what?
enough.
There's
And
this
you're like,
fish.
who the fuck
with
found that shit out?
And if you don't cook it right, you die. But if you
Yeah.
cook it right, it's delicious.
It's like, why are we eating it? Like, it's not even delicious. It's not even that good.
It's probably not that good. I've obviously never had it, but
I feel like I always thought it was a funny idea that like aliens like seeded our planets. So we're just like galactic fodder for like their endless wars that they're fighting. Since we're all so violent, if we take after our creators, then it's like maybe we're just like they're gonna show up one day, like, all right, galactic enlistment, time to go, guys. We're gonna go ship you all off.
here's
to
your
some
fucking
far-off planet.
plasma rifles and energy armor,
Yeah,
and
here's
here we
your-
go.
Off
Could
you
you,
go.
but could you imagine that? Like, I remember there was a short story, and I think we've talked about it before. There's a short story that talks about like this race and how scary it is, and it's the race ends up being ends up being humans.
Yeah.
And it talks about you can blow their limbs off, they don't stop.
I was some weird little, I remember there being like a little post that like, it was like,
something like that. And then it was like, if you leave any technology, they reverse engineer it. Like you cannot, like they fuck up everything. All they do is consume.
It's like, we have all this crazy stuff, but that's also on our planet. There's a bunch of stuff that like we're shitty at. Like our skin is pretty sensitive. Like our eyes can only see in one spectrum. Like we can only see like one tiny bit of the spectrum of light. So it's like,
we struggle to make the predator noise.
Yeah. We're terrible in the dark. Like we're not that good. Like our sense of smell and hearing are all like average at best. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but that's all.
But we've evolved to be that way.
Yeah, and that we've evolved. Like our bodies are like that, but our technology is not. We can see in any spectrum now. We got these telescopes that see deep space. We have infrared and all these night
bullets
vision goggles.
Don't need to see in spectrum, Dan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if we were designed this way, then it would be like, okay, that all of the equipment has to be designed for us. So they're just like, hey, it's easier just to grow more guys like us than it is to like develop another technology or whatever.
Well, yeah, maybe it's just biological creatures like reach a maximum, and maybe that's it. Maybe like the way we see, hear, like all the five senses, that's it. But it can be amplified with technology.
Of course. It's like, yeah.
I mean, but then you go farther and you're like, well, why not just create an artificial intelligent fucking cyborg that is machine that can see in all spectrums, that can live in deep space, that there is no limit to its body. Why not? That's really, if you're going to continue evolution, we create AI.
That's the next step.
AI creates we create the machines. We put the AI in the machines. Then the AI creates the machines better. And over and over and over.
Engineer our bodies biologically to be better. We CRISPR it up.
Or our bodies are biological, but the mind is digital and mind is transfer.
See,
like you can just transfer it.
The thing I've always kind of the hump that for me with AI is like, say if you create like a self-sufficient untethered AI that thinks for itself. The thing that I always go to is like, what's the AI's desire to explore the universe rather than just find itself somewhere to have build like a Dyson sphere around a sun that has infinite power, and then it just builds its own universe inwards. Like, you know what I mean?
Knowledge.
It can
That's
create,
what it's based on.
but it can create everything. Why go when it can just simulate? Right? It's like, I'll just,
because that's what its life is based on, intelligence. So it wants to maximize that.
Or some fucking psychopath creates the AI and someone embeds in it like just death and destruction. It's like prime directive, and that's it. It just goes and goes throughout the whole universe, just
killing
new planets,
automatons.
Just fucking automatons. Exactly. I mean, it turns out that actually, I think the automatons? Is that what they called?
Automatons, yeah.
They're actually pretty good guys. They're a little misunderstood, I heard. They just want peace, but Super Earth doesn't want peace, all right?
That sounds
Super
like,
Earth wants fucking democracy.
Yeah, it sounds like
propaganda.
That's how some propaganda. If they wouldn't keep advancing if they wanted peace.
It's like, then if it's like, if AI is the highest level, like, where does this stop? Like, then there is no need for like panspermia, really. It was just like, then for AI, it would just be the quest to be like the desire for resources. It just needs to, depending on whatever its basis programming is to be like, I need to propagate and I need to consume to fuel propagation. Like, then that would be like, okay, now I just need to, I don't know what it was. One of the ideas was like AI would need a place like it's really cold, and it's because all of the heat that's generated from what it's doing, like it would be like somewhere out there. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's like,
it's on the dark side of the moon, Dan.
Yeah. It would be a completely whole different set of like requirements that it would need.
Or this is all an illusion. This is all a simulation. Case file 52.
Well, come
full circle.
and as for like panspermia, like I think it naturally happens with the meteorites and stuff, and I think that's you have like cross pollination of planets. But I do think, like, you know, again, I have to say that I believe, because I do believe we're not the only intelligent life. I believe there's extraterrestrials. So I would say that, like, even them coming here, like, they might be participating in panspermia just by having bacteria on their ship that is now on Earth. You know what I mean? And it's like, I was kind of thinking about this too. Is like, we talked about the various areas on Earth that have like unbelievably rare fauna that only grows in these certain areas that sometimes get visited, right? The manzanita bushes we always talk about. I said that because I saw Andrew's eyebrows fucking perk. I saw the caterpillars come out of the fucking burrows.
They're crawling.
You and your manzanita bushes, bud.
The caterpillars were on the move. But that's where it's like, maybe those are visitation points in the past, and they're just like, look at that. That's interesting because that's fauna very similar to our home planet growing now where we visited Earth just by touching down 1,000 years ago. Like, interesting. And maybe that's what they're studying, stuff like that, and these areas where there's these extremely rare and only found in one location on Earth. Like, maybe that's what that is. Maybe those are spots where we're seeing some panspermia. We just don't know it. And we're just chalking up as to rare fauna on Earth.
And I still like the theory that the ETs, whoever or wherever they are, have been observing the planet forever. Either they did create us or they just know we're here. And atomic power is so rare that when we first discovered it and blew up the bomb in 45, they're like, oh, okay. That's like a 1 in a billion. There's only a couple of those civilizations that have existed that we've witnessed. And now here we come. And then they're here. And that was the trigger. That either that bomb is so powerful, like if you were to go with like dimensions or like, because people like straight line space is impossible for what we know, for the amount of time light takes to travel. So like that ripple of the atomic bombs and stuff, but it was felt in a different dimension or something. And that's where they came. So panspermia, maybe panspermia is interdimensional.
Dimensional spermia.
I don't know. It's a really, I mean, you could talk about it forever because it's, but then
it's an interesting topic.
When you get back to it at the end, it does not tell you, okay, well, if it came from somewhere else, where did it come from there? Endless loop. No matter any way, any theory, religious or scientific, the origin of the universe, it goes back like, all right, Big Bang, what was before it? Was there another universe that collapsed down on itself and it made another, like, did it make the Big Bang? Because it made this infinite dense ball because it collapsed in on itself and then it exploded and it started all over again? And how many of those have there been? Has there been a...
Oh, man, it's just the Big Bang's just the other side of a supermassive black hole where everything gets ejected out.
Yeah. It collapses down and then explodes.
It gets shot out the other side into our universe. Right. That's what the Big Bang is. I think when I always think of Big Bang, that's what I think. I in my head, I've always thought less of an explosion, more of like where it's the other end of a black hole where everything gets
an ejection
sucked into this unbelievable, tight gravity well, and then ejected out the other side. All combined.
So if that's the case, then
like the fly,
because we know there's billions of galaxies, and at the center of every galaxy is a black hole. So at that center of every galaxy is a gateway to another universe through the black hole into
through the black hole.
Previous Big Bang, which has spawned an entire new universe.
Yeah, we just spits it out and just in all directions.
If someone's listening to this in like 4,000 years because we haven't destroyed ourselves, you're probably thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Or they're like,
"Fuck,
these guys are fucking idiots.
Haven't you
guys-
heard about this? You fucking
Guys are
idiots.
morons.
He's like, yeah, Dan's gonna get us canceled in 4,000 for using the fucking term moron.
When I'm,
Like,
when I
can't believe they use that
when I-
antiquated term.
No, my digital copy that I put in a robot body.
Yeah, you're still alive.
It
of
was
course.
canceled. Yeah.
Yeah.
My-
He'd be saying apology. It was a different time.
That's actually a funny thought that even if it's only in a few hundred years, because a few hundred years ago, like we knew nothing what we know now. In a few hundred years, like those idiots didn't even know the origin of the universe. They had a theory. They had no idea.
Big dummies.
Big dummies.
Oh, that'd be the coolest thing about being able to time travel into the future is being like, what do you know?
What new
actually, discoveries?
we know we've existed forever. Infinity is nothing. And we can go to any point at any time through this machine. Want to come? All right. Boop. And they just pop around.
You're like, how do you think I got here?
Yep.
I already seen this machine. It's a very, very interesting topic to discuss, and let us know your thoughts on panspermia and where the origins of life come from. Shoot us a message, Instagram, Facebook. It's been a little bit of a wild couple months here for the boys. Things are starting. I think we got like 3 more weeks of kind of like little bit of insanity before the waters start to calm. I think that makes sense. Dan, you're going next week. You're gone next week.
Dan's gone next couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, you're gone next couple weeks.
Got holidays from work. We can't say what or where he's going or what he's doing.
My Sanuk.
Not that.
We've got a couple busy weekends. Andrew's doing some coursework, finishing that up. And Zell's actually,
I'm back, baby.
he's back. He's the first one. He's the first one out of the rocky waters.
4
He's
months
letting
of
us
shit.
know. Yeah, there's clear skies ahead. The rest of us
Pipe
got
gate's
2 more
over.
weeks.
Studio rental's over. The shed is built.
Yeah,
I'm back, baby.
couple more weeks.
I can't play
for the
video
rest of
games,
us.
but I'm back other than video games.
We got some new Patreon supporters.
Oh, I believe we do. If you're not supporting the show, you got to go to alientheorist.com. You got to hit the support tab. You got to support on Patreon or Supercast for early access, ad-free, all the other goodies. This week we got Dan O. Dan just keeps subscribing every week.
Just keep,
in a new
yeah.
name.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. We got Nate Olison, Wolfhead, Nemo, and Adam. Thank you very much for supporting the show. We appreciate it.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
In after.